By 2154, the Earth has turned into an overpopulated, polluted, and disease-ridden world where cities have become dilapidated slums and the climate is hot and dry. The wealthiest people have escaped to a high-tech space station called Elysium, which orbits beyond the Earth's atmosphere, leaving the rest of the world behind. On Earth, there are brutal robots that police the people, but on Elysium, President Patel governs a utopia with medbays that provide immediate cures for all kinds of ailments. A young Max da Costa and his girlfriend Frey Santiago reside in a barren landscape of Los Angeles, where people dwell in meager shanties. He grows up in an orphanage under the care of a benevolent nun who believes he is destined for greatness. Max gazes at Elysium that is visible from Earth. Frey, who is literate, shares stories of Elysium with Max. Max promises to take Frey there someday, and she marks his hand with a pen, inscribing a circle and the letters F and M. Years later, Max is now a 36-year-old former car thief with numerous tattoos and an electronic ankle bracelet. He is preparing to board a bus to his job when two security robots approach him in line. They ask about the contents of his backpack, and when Max responds with sarcasm, they rip it off and hit him, breaking his wrist. At a clinic for treatment, Max meets Frey, now a nurse, by chance. Frey's daughter, Matilda, has seizures and Frey used to bring her to work, but was told to leave her at home because she couldn't receive treatment there. She initially declined Max's invitation for coffee, but she eventually agreed to meet him at a later time. Max is employed at Armadine Corp's assembly line, which provides weaponry and robots for Elysium and Earth's police force. He receives a half-day pay deduction from the shift supervisor for being late due to the incident earlier. On his way home, Max's friend Julio attempts to lure him back into the auto theft business, but Max declines, determined to finish his parole and discover a way to reach Elysium. Meanwhile, illegal immigrants in LA purchase Elysium ID brands and board dilapidated shuttles with stolen codes, flying towards Elysium. Delacourt, the defense secretary of Elysium, is alerted to 3 unauthorized shuttles approaching and activates a sleeper agent named Kruger. Kruger uses a missile launcher to destroy 2 shuttles, killing everyone on board. The remaining shuttle lands on Elysium and the wealthy residents chase after its occupants with helicopters and robots. A mother and daughter who survived the shuttle attack find a medbed in a house and are identified as Elysium citizens. The machine assesses and repairs the girls' multiple fractures. The incident leads to 32 arrests and 59 casualties. The mother and daughter are eventually caught and all 34 people are prepared for deportation to Earth. President Patel reprimands Delacourt for shooting down the shuttles and using Kruger to do so. Delacourt is disrespectful and Patel threatens to fire her if she messes up again. He orders her to stop using Kruger. After finding out about his discharge, Kruger becomes angry and feels betrayed. One day at work, Max's pallet jams the firing unit door, and he is ordered to clear it or lose his job. As he clears the door, it slams shut and the unit powers on, giving him a lethal dose of radiation. After being rescued, he is informed that he has only 5 days to live due to organ failure. CEO John Carlyle orders that Max be taken away, and a robot gives him pills to cope with the pain until he dies. Julio helps Max after he returns from the infirmary. Max expresses his desire to see Spider, the man behind the illegal transports to Elysium, as he needs a medbay to heal himself. Max and Julio visit Spider at the Rebel Command Center, where Max requests an identification brand and a ticket to Elysium in exchange for working for him. Spider offers Max a deal to obtain passcodes and secret data from one of Elysium's high-ranking officials in exchange for his passage to Elysium. Max tells Spider he wants to include Julio in the deal and that the high-level target must be John Carlyle. Max undergoes surgery by what appears to be nothing more than glorified tattoo artists, who attach a 3rd-gen powered exoskeleton and wire a data collection device to his brain. The exoskeleton gives Max droid-level strength. Delacourt makes a deal with Carlyle to create a program that can override Elysium's computer core and give her the presidency. Carlyle would get a 200-year contract to provide essential services in return. Carlyle creates the program, Saber Cerebral Defense, and programs it into his own brain device with a lethal encryption. He then flies to Elysium. Max, Julio, and Spider's team use fast armored vehicles to intercept Carlyle's shuttle. Max shoots an explosive device at the shuttle's engine and it is forced to crash land after a short distance. Delacourt informs Kruger that Carlyle's shuttle has crashed due to Max's actions. Kruger demands to be reinstated in exchange for rescuing Carlyle. Delacourt agrees and arranges for Kruger's former associates to pick him up. Max and his team reach Carlyle's shuttle, but they are attacked by two droids. After a difficult fight, they manage to destroy one of them and cut through the hull to get to Carlyle. However, the other droid comes out, and during their confrontation, Carlyle is accidentally shot, and Max defeats the droid in hand-to-hand combat, ripping off its head. Max and his team connect to Carlyle's computer before he dies, but they encounter an issue with the data transfer. As Kruger and his men approach, the data transfer finally reaches completion. As Max attempts to flee, he suddenly collapses on the ground. Something about the downloaded data is causing him head pain. Kruger's weapons easily destroy one of Max's vehicles. Kruger lands and stabs Max with a combat knife. Kruger unsheathes his sword, but Julio quickly shoots him in the neck. Kruger thrusts his sword into Julio's body. Max shoots at Kruger, but he uses a force field to deflect it. Delacourt orders Max to be captured, but his brain to be left undamaged. After Carlyle's death, Max evades Kruger and his men with the help of an old lady who hides him under her cart. Kruger deploys tracking discs to find Max, while Delacourt orders a no-fly order to search for him. Kruger discovers the nature of the data transfer between Carlyle and Max. Max is found by Frey on the street and asks for her help in treating his stab wound. She takes him to her home and notices a tattoo under his wound, which matches the one she wrote on his hand when they were children. Frey reveals that her daughter, Matilda, has leukemia and asks Max to take her to Elysium for a cure, but Max refuses. Matilda tells Max a story about a meerkat and a hippo, illustrating the idea of helping those in need. Max apologizes and leaves. Kruger's search disc spots Max, who manages to disable it, but Kruger has already seen him. Kruger and his men storm Frey's home and take her and Matilda with them in the shuttle. Max visits Spider and asks for a flight to Elysium, but Spider explains that there's a no-fly order. When Spider connects to Max's port, he discovers that Max has the reboot program for Elysium. Despite Spider's warnings, Max decides to trade it for his cure and leaves. After returning to the spot where he had destroyed one of the search discs, Max contacts Kruger through its camera and challenges him to come and get him. Max then threatens to detonate a grenade and destroy the reboot program if Kruger does not take him to Elysium. Reluctantly, Kruger allows Max to board his shuttle along with Frey and Matilda, and they begin the 19-minute journey to Elysium. The no-fly restriction on LA is lifted by Delacourt. Spider is aware that Max is headed towards Elysium since he had planted a tracking device on him prior to his departure. With two of his men, Spider boards his own shuttle and sets off for Elysium. Kruger sings to Matilda and kisses Frey. One of the goons approaches Max, and Max orders him to back up, leading to a struggle as the goon and Kruger lunge for the grenade in Max's hand. It causes the grenade to detonate and destroy Kruger's face. The shuttle crashes onto Elysium. Max carries Matilda to safety and rescues Frey, who was trapped in her seat. As Elysium security forces arrive, Frey carries Matilda to a mansion, but the healing bed won't work for her because she is not a citizen. Max fights one of Kruger's associates, who later tasers him. Frey is also tasered by the other goon. Delacourt informs President Patel that the intruders have committed an act of war and declares herself in charge. She orders her expert to extract the data from Max's head, despite being told that it would kill him. Spider lands his old and noisy shuttle and heads straight to the location where his tracking device shows Max is located. After Kruger's goons take Frey and Matilda away, they rush Kruger to a med bay where his face and head are reconstructed. As Delacourt confronts Kruger about the shuttle crash, he becomes agitated and breaks the mirror he was using to examine his face. In a fit of anger, he takes a large piece of the broken mirror and thrusts it into Delacourt's throat. Meanwhile, Max manages to free himself from his restraints and incapacitates the two laboratory technicians who were going to extract the data from him. He coerces one of them to reveal Frey's location. Kruger reveals his plan to use the data in Max's head to take control of Elysium. He throws Delacourt into the room with Frey and Matilda. Whilst that happens, Kruger's men cause destruction on Elysium using grenades. Frey attempts to treat Delacourt's wound, but Delacourt ends up succumbing to excessive bleeding. Max contacts Spider and prepares for a final showdown, taking the last of his pain medication from the armory. Kruger dons a superior military-grade exoskeleton and orders his goon to kill Frey and Matilda. Max arrives just in time and, with superhuman strength from the pills he took, crushes the goon against the floor. Max then kills the second goon who enters shooting. Max instructs Frey to take Matilda to a med bay on the surface, assuring her that it will work this time. Meanwhile, Max joins forces with Spider, reiterating their agreement that he will help only if Frey and her daughter receive medical treatment. Spider dispatches one of his men to assist Frey. Kruger blows up one of Spider's men, and Max retaliates by shooting him. Kruger attacks Max with his sword and they fight on a high pathway until Spider tackles Kruger, causing his sword to fall several levels below. In their hand-to-hand combat, Max initially struggles against Kruger, but he manages to disconnect Kruger's exoskeleton power source during a body flip. After pulling the pin of a grenade, Kruger attaches himself to Max, but Max breaks free and flips him over the railing, exploding in midair. Max rejoins Spider to reboot Elysium. At the same moment, Spider connects a cable to the port in Max's head while Frey activates a med bay containing Matilda. Spider double-checks with Max that he wants to proceed, despite the fatal risk of the data download. After saying goodbye to Frey, Max gives the green light. Just as President Patel arrives with security to arrest Spider, Max hits enter on Spider's computer, initiating the Elysium reboot, which grants citizenship to all of Earth's inhabitants. In sacrificing himself, Max ensures Matilda's recovery, Spider's release, and aid for the new citizens of Elysium on Earth. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new release. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.